evening to the Springfield Township Board of Trustees meeting. It's February 11, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. Mr. Vernon, can we have the roll call, please?
Yes, Ms. Braun?
Present.
Mr. Honolaw?
Present.
Mr. Burning?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
And if we could have Joey McCabe, Braden McCabe, James Vondrell from Troop 857 come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Come on up, don't be bashful, guys.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, guys. Can I get a motion for approval of the minutes for the regular session on January 14, 2025, and the regular work session on January 28, 2025? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Burning, if you could give us a financial report?
Yes, sir. For the month ending January 31st, 2025, the township expenditures were $2,335,440.49, and receipts were $551,239.56. This gives us an ending cash balance of $23,973,954.60. Including obligations to expenditures, payroll, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investments. What I request from the board is a motion to approve the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, update and current revenue, and reports for the period ending January 31st, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, the motion carries, and I just want everyone to know the financial reports are available for viewing here at the administration office during regular business hours or on our website 24/7. Thank you, Mr. Burning.
Thank you. Mr. Gilbert, department and action item, and discussion items?
Yes, Mr. Burning, we have several action items and actually one that's not on the agenda, and that's my oversight. So we'll talk about that here in a second. But first, we do have to set the date and time for the equalization hearing. This is for the Pleasure Run Farms portion of our road resurfacing projects from the summer and fall of 2024. As the board is aware, you did pass a resolution determining the necessity for assessment for that project, as we have in close to 20 different road projects over the last 6 or 7 years. This is the final step prior to sending the assessment paperwork to the county auditor. So I would just ask that the board set the date and time for the equalization hearing for the Pleasure Run Farm streets associated with the 24 repaving schedule. And we're looking at March 11th at our next regular hearing at 5:15 p.m., if that works for everyone.
Works for me.
I'm fine.
Fine.
Okay. All right, so I just need a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Another meeting that, again, wasn't on the actual agenda, but as the board is aware, March is when we are required to adopt our permanent appropriations. And so every year we do a public hearing associated with that. So I would just ask that we set the date and time for the public hearing for our 2025 permanent appropriations budget at March 11th at our next regular meeting, at the beginning of the meeting at 5:30. Okay?
Otherwise it's fine.
Okay.
That's also the 11th.
Correct, yeah, at 5:30.
Beginning of the meeting, Joe.
Yeah, at the beginning of the
Do
meeting.
we need a motion?
Yes.
I'll
So-
make a motion. Go.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you, appreciate that. Next, we have the appointment of Arts Council board members. I know Kim has had quite a bit of turnover in the Arts Council board. In the back, people moving on, doing some different things and expanding their career, moving on to things that would not allow them to continue on the Arts Council board. So I know she has several appointments for you all to make. Kim, can you let us know who those are?
You supposed to read that?
We're going to have Shane Schuhart serve as vice chair. He's with the Public Works Department. Jamie Bird with the Police Department as secretary. Both of these will serve a 2-year renewable term.
Those are the two individuals that are township employees that serve on the board. So, unless there are any questions, we would entertain a motion with that slate of members.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Lastly, we have the K-9 agreements. Rick, I don't know if you can explain to us exactly who this one is for, but at the end of his explanation, I will need a motion authorizing me as a township administrator to execute those agreements.
Yeah, this is just our annual renewal of our K-9 officers, Officer Jim Sheeler and Officer Zach Davis, who have our K-9 teams together. Every year they renew their contracts, and it's basically just outlining the agreement between Springfield Township and them, because those dogs are a part of their family. So there is some compensation during their off time that they get to make sure that they take care of those dogs for us. So nothing new. The language hasn't changed from last year, but it's just time for us to renew those.
Make a motion.
Second.
Approve those.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Looking at the personnel update, we had the new hire of Rob Leininger as our the customer experience coordinator. Rob will be leading up, and that's a part-time position, Rob will be leading up a lot of our hospitality efforts to make sure that we can expand and offer even better service to our residents and provide a more personal experience for them. I think he's going to be working with every department to implement those initiatives, and he'll be heavily involved in the onboarding of employees, letting them know what our philosophy is and the culture of this organization is, and why we're here, and the type of service we want to provide to our residents. So that, I think, will be an important position going forward to establish an even better way in which we provide service to our residents. So, in the fire department, we had the hiring of Tom Sarvis as a part-time medic firefighter. We had the hiring of Joshua King as a part-time medic, and the hiring of Juan Gutierrez as a part-time EMT. And in the Arts Community Center, we had the resignation of Jennifer Brock. She worked as a bartender back at the Grove Banquet Hall, so she has resigned. With that, I will turn it over to Kim for community events and programs.
Thank you. Our first event for the year is March the 1st, and then following that will be March the 8th for the Daddy-Daughter Dance and the Mom Prom. Both of those events are sold out. On March the 27th, we have a dinner theater event, and that is going to be catered by Tila's. It is called David Anthony's Night of Magic and Hypnosis. And then on April the 11th and 12th, we expanded from one show to 2 shows because our children's theater program has grown so big. So we are now currently at 60 kids registered for our kids' theater program. So we will have 2 shows both on Friday night and 2 shows on Saturday, 2 casts that will be on April 11th and 12th. Their auditions are actually tonight back at the Grove.
Perfect. Thank you, Kim.
Thanks.
Departmental activity, Chief Niehaus, if you can come up and let us know what's going on in the police department.
Good evening, how are you?
Good.
I think this is probably a good time of the year and a good time just to really remind our residents about some crime prevention tips. I think a lot of this is precipitated by what we're seeing in some of our neighboring jurisdictions with thefts from vehicles. We're seeing an increase. Thankfully, we haven't seen that increase yet with the township, but we thought it was a good idea to kind of remind some of our residents on what to look for and how to best protect themselves and their property. I think one of the trends that we're seeing is not so much groups from those communities, but these transient groups that travel from community to community overnight. I think these transient groups that transfer from community to community each night, all they're doing is looking for opportunity, looking for unlocked car doors, looking in doors, looking for valuable items and those things that are quick access and easily accessible. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing a significant amount of home security systems, ring doorbell cameras, of them just going door to door and walking down the street, hitting each car, just check see car, unlock. So it's a good reminder for the residents just to make sure that things aren't left in sight, because car doors are locked overnight. I think the other thing too is worth stressing and discussing is the importance of those ring doorbell cameras. We see it a lot on the Ring Neighbors app that we have access to, and on the neighborhood app that individuals and residents are posting videos of people going through their vehicles and walking up and down the street at night. They not necessarily send them to the police department because they weren't truly a victim of crime, but it's really important for us to be able to get those videos and get access to those because we can connect those to other similar crimes in the areas. With the use of the technology that we have at the police department, really kind of be able to identify more people and individuals that are involved in activity. So even though they're not victims of crime, those videos that they have at their home are very important to us.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris.
So-
Go ahead, Joe.
No, go right.
Please go ahead, Joe.
Mike, one question. So you're saying someone that has a Ring camera should make sure that they, like, allow their footage to go out to the neighborhood? Is that,
Yeah, so one of the benefits the police department has with the community is Ring has what's called a neighbors application within the Ring doorbell system. And it allows them to share Ring doorbell video camera footage throughout the community or throughout their specific neighborhood. Really kind of alert their neighbors what to watch for and the things that they capture. What we find, unfortunately, though, a lot of times is if you're truly not a victim of crime, you had somebody come and try to open your door or they look in your car late at night, they don't necessarily report that because they didn't suffer a loss to us, but they'll post that on that public viewing page.
gotcha.
Getting access to those, even though they're not a victim of crime, does help us with time, date, location, to be able to connect them to individuals that were victims of crime.
Gotcha.
I know, Chief, you and I and Director Bly had some conversations relative to a lot of the incidents that unfortunately our neighboring community to our west Coleraine has been experiencing. And I think it's worth mentioning to the public just how we in-house discuss those issues and what are we doing to constantly be better here in Springfield Township to help prevent incidents like that happening here. Now, we know that it isn't always possible to prevent those incidents, but it's important, I think, for the community to be aware that every day we're constantly discussing how do we change how we patrol, and we employ technology to allow us to be in a situation to prevent crime and frankly deter people from coming here to commit crime.
Yeah, Chris, you're absolutely right. And like I just spoke about, one of the things that we constantly monitor is those trends and patterns of criminal activity, especially those ones that aren't specific to Springfield Township, right? Because we know it gives us the ability to forecast what to watch out for. Not only that, but looking at those trends and patterns of criminal activity, and then, like you said, leveraging that technology that we already have in the house to be able to forecast where those next crimes could occur. And then not only that, but then employing like our impact unit and specialized assignments and directed patrol to be in that area before those crimes occur is absolutely critical for us.
For sure. Perfect. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Chris.
Chief Miller.
Don't mind me, I'm just gonna switch these out. There you go.
Does Chris have to redo his whole thing?
Okay, good afternoon. Just wanted to highlight some of the new equipment that we purchased in the latter part of last year. She forgot, hey, it was working. So one of the new pieces of equipment, so part of our self-contained breathing apparatus, or SCBA, is the bottles that firefighters wear on our backs to allow us to breathe in hazardous conditions. One of the pieces, important pieces, are face pieces. We now have the ability to, we integrated our Bluetooth system into our face pieces. So the masks are known as bone conduction masks. They actually use a bone conduction speaker and microphone to transmit and receive communication via the temporal bone. So it's pretty advanced technology that we're getting here at Springfield Township. So in a sense, it's bypassing your ears in a sense. So now it's going through your temporal bone, and I'll explain that here in a minute as well. So this technology improves communication clarity in high noise environments and provides an alternate method for communications for firefighters when they're in that hazardous environment. Additionally, as part of that, so we also received, purchased rapid assistant team bags. So those are our RAT bags. So the good thing about these now, they can be deployed, outside crews can deploy inside of a building for a mayday situation, or if a firefighter goes down. We actually have the ability now that we can provide air transfill to that firefighter who is down, or if we need to, change out his entire mask to try to get that firefighter safely out. As part of this system as well, we also have software that we installed on the computer in our incident command car, District 79 car that we have over there. And the incident commander now can monitor the any type of alert that goes off on a firefighter's SCBA. They can actually see that on the screen, but they can also monitor the air management, air supply, so we can see if there's a problem with that firefighter, hopefully before it actually even happens. So to alert that firefighter that they either need to get out or fix something on themselves to get them out. So some of the things we've been doing, though, we've been obviously training, obviously new technology. This takes a lot of training. So over the past 3 months, we've been training on this, trying to get it in service, hopefully by the end of February. That's our goal. But I do want to recognize Jason Eckhoff, Lieutenant Jason Eckhoff, and Lieutenant John Beasing. They've actually oversaw this entire project, all the new equipment, all the new training. They actually updated, we had Mobilecom come out and update all of our radios. So now we're in compliant and have the best radio system and all that for all of our personnel. So I also want to, does anybody have any questions about that before I get into?
I think one of the issues with the previous system was that they were speaking into their mask, and it sometimes was muddled, and it was not only difficult for them to hear, but it was also difficult for people to make out even what someone was saying.
Yeah, so anytime we teach firefighters not to yell on the radio and all that, but basically your microphone's outside of your mask. So for the person on the other end to hear it, you actually have to raise your voice in a sense. So now we can actually have that microphone anywhere we want. We can talk in a normal just voice like you and I are talking, and that incident commander now can, and everybody on the fire scene can hear you with just like, normal talking. So I urge you, if you'd like to come stop by the firehouse sometime, we can actually put you in a mask and so you can actually try it out. So it's pretty neat technology. Not many departments around here have it. So we're starting to other departments are now starting to work with us on that to see how it all works. So just also wanted to remind the public that we do have smoke detectors. We do work with the American Red Cross to give out free smoke detectors and batteries. So we do have a supply of those in. So they can call the Station 79 or Station 75, and we will make sure they get one.
Awesome. Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
Thanks. Scott.
Yes, sir.
I know that we're ready. We have the trucks filled with salt, and we did a little pre-treatment, and hopefully it's kind of like when you take your umbrella out and it doesn't rain.
That's correct. We loaded yesterday. We did a 4 a.m. start based on the forecast today. We gambled and we lost. We didn't have anything. All afternoon they said it's 2 inches, 3 inches of snow possible. We waited it out. Nothing happened. So we'll see what happens tonight, but we're loaded and ready to go if necessary.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. Well, but we're ready if it happens, so.
Yeah. Ready. And what he just described in terms of being ready and nothing happening is exactly why it's difficult. You hear a lot of times that local government should act like private business, or that you should, potentially contract a lot of these services out to the private sector. Unfortunately, things like snow removal and public works services aren't something typically that the private sector is too keen on taking on, because just like he described, we started at 4 a.m, we pre-treated, we loaded the trucks, we were ready in case it snowed, nothing happened. If we were to contract that out to the private sector, there's not a contractor in the world that's going to employ staff, take on the material and all that, the off chance that something happens and nothing does. So this is exactly why sometimes while local government should and does take cues from the private sector in terms of things we do with efficiency and things, there are also certain services we provide that just aren't amenable to the private sector, and therefore that's why they belong in local government, was exactly what he's describing. One community I remember a few years ago tried to privatize their public works department. They put it out to bid for several months. Not one private entity bid on it for the exact reason I just described. You cannot have a private contractor do what our public works crew does in order to be there and respond immediately when situations happen like snow. So I know that you guys sometimes, you do the work that's unnoticed, that's behind the scenes. You're typically out and late at night when people are in their house. And so, we're grateful for everything you guys are doing. So hopefully, she said it's snowing, but hopefully it doesn't stick too bad and it's not that big of an event. Because I think also what the public doesn't realize is how much these storms cost us in terms of material. And generally, it never snows at noon on Wednesday. It's always on the weekend or at night, and therefore it's overtime for our staff. And so the last storm where we had 6, 7, 8 inches, whatever that was, and it took us 2 or 3 days to get through everything. With material and labor, that storm cost us almost $150,000. Salt is about $80 a ton. And so it's not an inexpensive service to provide. Now, we do our best by mixing a brine solution with it to reduce the amount of salt, but it is an expensive service to provide, and they do an incredible job with it. But I think it's just important to remind the public that when it snows, you guys are thinking about how you're going to get down the road. When I'm at home, all I think about is how much money is this going to cost the township. So, especially now that we're in budget season. So hopefully, like you said, it'll stay south of us. So with that, that concludes the departmental activity reports, unless there's any questions of the board.
I do not.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Next is our resolutions. First is resolution number 13, 2025, authorizing private sale of unneeded and unfit for use property in the police department. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Braun?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 14, 2025, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Braun?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
And next is resolution number 15, 2025, determining necessity for road improvements pursuant to Revised Code 5573.01 on Mockingbird Lane, Cross County Highway to Fontainebleau Terrace, and Farm Edge Lane, and authorizing statutory actions required for such improvements. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Braun?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Do any of the trustees have any old business?
I do not.
Any new business?
I do have some new business this evening. Actually, 3 things I thought we ought to talk about. The first is our staff. We were at the Ohio Township Association Winter Conference in Columbus roughly a week ago. We learned about the new marijuana bill that's going through the legislature. We have in Springfield Township, a majority of the voters voted in favor of allowing marijuana dispensaries in Springfield Township, and in fact, it passed across the state. The original language called for a 10% tax, and of that, 3.6% was to go to local governments. The state legislature's now decided to make it, there's a bill going through, make it 20% tax, which a lot of people say we'll end up kind of putting it back on the street. The cost will get so high. But they've also decided the state's taken all the money, the local governments don't get any of it. And in Springfield Township, we enacted a moratorium initially when it passed because the laws weren't written and we didn't know what was going to come. And we later, because of the majority of, there was a decisive majority that voted in favor of it, and I didn't think as an elected official it was, right for me to say, no, we're not going to have that. So we have allowed it, although it's in a very restricted space. We don't have one yet, but there's one that apparently is thinking of coming here. And it would provide significant tax dollars to our community. And I can tell you a lot of elected officials have been contacting their representatives and the leadership in the House and the Senate saying, this is not right. The voters voted on this. There was to be a local government component to this, and now you're just going to grab it all. And so we're waiting to see what's going to happen on that. That's one thing on a state level. A couple things closer to home. I just got this, Chris gave this to us. Duke filed their gas recovery rate for March coming up, which is the third highest month of the year in terms of gas usage, and their rate is going to be 96.39 cents per cubic feet. Our aggregation rate in Springfield Township, because we have electric and gas aggregation, is going to be 58.94 cents. So we're beating them, not 50%, but darn near. So it's our gas aggregation, our energy, our electric aggregation, those programs have saved the residents millions of dollars over the years we did it. I'm glad I'm glad we started this, many years ago, and it was something I know. Some people said, why are you doing that? It's, you don't need to do that. It's not something that governments have to do. And we were like, we thought it was a way to, give a little extra value back to the residents of the community. So it's worked out well, pretty much every jurisdiction. We were one of the first that successfully did it, and pretty much every jurisdiction since, or at least the majority of them, are doing it as well. So I just want to point that out. And then the third thing, this is good news, we have a brownfield site in Springfield Township, an old polluted industrial factory. It's down in the Edgemont area off of Section Road. Part of this old plant, it was a quantum chemical site. It's a wreck. This place is, the buildings are falling down. It's polluted. It's right near the Edgemont community. We have a lot of citizens there. It's part in Springfield Township, part in the city of Cincinnati. And, with Mr. Gilbert and our staff, particularly Kathleen Kennedy, we've been, for years, working to try and get control of that site so it can be cleaned up. And Kathleen, what was it this past week? Was it this week? Was it?
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday, there was a group that had it, and I don't know what they were never going to do anything. They bought it like speculators, to the best of my knowledge, and we're never going to clean it up. Never going to, it's going to cost millions of dollars. And we were lucky. We worked with the city of Cincinnati and the Greater Cincinnati Port Authority. And last week, the Port Authority closed on it, and so now we have control over the entire site, and I think we're on the right path to getting this thing, first of all, leveled, raised, and then work on the remediating the pollution, which will be a great thing because it could be a good asset for our community because we don't have a lot of industry, and hopefully we'll be able to take this thing, which right now is paying no taxes, doing anything for the community and make it, a productive property. It's right by Paddock Road and I-75.
And yes, it is in the township.
Yeah, Yeah, it is.
2/3 of it. I think.
2/3, yeah. So that's good news. It's taken a long time, and it's not glitzy stuff or fun stuff, but it's something we just keep plugging away at.
It absolutely would not have happened without Kathleen and without Ms.
Exactly.
Abrams.
Yes.
Their work, it has taken years for them to get it to this point. And so without those two, in particular Kathleen and her sort of relentless pursuit of making sure this property gets in the hands of the port, it would not have happened. So they get all the credit.
Yes, and Laura, don't let me forget you. I'm looking
Thank
at
you.
that.
Yeah.
But yes,
I did far less than Kathleen.
but you keep, I know, but both of you.
She
And
was relentless. She
She
wanted this
done-
to happen.
You did, and I know there are probably times, oh my God, she's on the phone again.
I think I call it something like polite pain in the butt or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
So, thank you. That's all I have.
Thanks, Joe. Next, we have citizens' participation. Anybody who would like to speak to the board, just come up to the microphone. Please state your name and address. And if everyone else could just let them speak so we can hear them, that'd be great. Would anybody like to address the board tonight? You weren't ready.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Sandra Presley, and I work at 1110 9 Hamilton Avenue at the North Central Branch Library. I'm the senior branch manager there. I have 3 quick things for you tonight. So we have a winter checkout challenge. I have brought some of the activity sheets where you can track your progress. I have also brought some coasters that you get just for participating. And also a new thing that we have this year are coupons to the Friends Warehouse. So the Friends Warehouse is located in between Wyoming and Carthage. I always forget that area. That's where it's located, and they have so many books and DVDs, CDs that are already discounted, and they have never before given us any type of coupon. I'm a coupon lover myself, but they've never given us this, so this is a big deal. So I will give these to Kim. Is that okay? Alrighty, and I also have our program flyers for the library. I'd like to promote our ESOL, so if you know people who are trying to learn language or English as a second language, please point them our way at the North Central Branch, because we have some lovely volunteers who are dedicating their time to our branch, all free of charge, to help people learn English. And it doesn't matter what their native language is, if they feel like they're struggling, and even if it's, you are an English speaker and you want to learn from someone else on what their language is, it's kind of like a each one teach one situation. And lastly, I'm sure you all know that we are in the thick of the cold flu COVID season. The library has COVID tests to offer for free. We give away 4 per household. So if you are feeling ill, feel free to give us a call, and we do have the option for you to come in and get your test, and we have masks if you want that, or you can go through our little drive-through area and we can give them to you at the door, all in the safety of your car. Either option is okay with us, because we just want people to have access to these vital tests, and they're totally free. So that is all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you for letting me speak.
Would anyone else like to address the board? If no one else would like to address the board is going to go into executive session
For the purposes of pending litigation.
for the purposes of pending litigation. Thank you all for coming.
Yes, you need a roll call.
We need a roll call.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Ms. Braun,
Present.
Mr. Howlaw,
Aye.
Mr. Burning,
Aye.
in executive session.